Hello everybody. This is a follow-on to a previous video I did where I was trying to make some kind of wood pellet container to put inside things like firebox stoves to make it more efficient. And what I wanted to do was keep the flame in the middle. So I've been tinkering around and I came up with this. It's one of those posh coffee cans I've cut down, and I've also wrapped some galvanized wire in the middle to give it a nice bit of airflow up the center. I'm going to find a better way to load this at some point. The idea is that we keep a nice concentrated flame in the middle and we make the fuel very efficient. We get a nice clean burn. Oh, here I am showing it off now, showing you what it's all about. When I turned it over, they all kind of fell out a bit, but you've got the general idea where I bent the can to hold the pellets in. The problem with pellets generally is that they're a bit lackluster when you try to light them. There's not a lot of air gets into them and it's quite hard to get a decent kind of burn on them. So this is why I've been playing around with this idea. I've got some of these little fuel tabs here. They're like barbecue fire lighters made by Brunner. Yeah, go on, shove it in there, chap. Bit smaller. My original idea was to make this like a Swedish fire torch in the middle and then put the lighting fuel in the middle, light it, and then hopefully that would give me like a rocket stove effect up the middle and set fire to the pellets. What I didn't... oh, there they are. Yeah, you can buy like a box of 100 of these ever so cheap. If I use half of one, I put the other half back in the box and just put a bit of tape on it and come back to it another time. There's plenty of air gap you can see around this. This is the Firebox freestyle stove. But you could do this with any type of full wall stove or any type of container stove like this. When I lit it, what I thought was, as I said, I'd get a nice kind of effect up the middle like a Swedish fire torch, and that would get the whole thing going. But what I didn't anticipate was, by putting the fuel down the middle, I've actually blocked up the air gap. So that wasn't ideal. It kind of petered out a bit. And you'll see in a minute, eventually the whole thing went out. Yeah, as you can see, that first effort to light it was pretty poor. But that obviously didn't work. So I had the other half of the fuel tablet, well, most of the other half, I just dropped a bit there. I'll put it round the top this time, just to see if it would actually light or if the whole thing was a complete and utter waste of time. Well, you can see for yourself what happens. Having slits down the side of the can, that allows loads of air into the side. And now with the centre clear, we've got a rush of air coming up the middle. And that's really helping to set it going. I was getting quite excited at this point, but I didn't know if when my fuel tablet got exhausted, that if it would keep burning on its own, if it had enough like heat and air get into it to actually start the pellets going. A couple of minutes later, well, you can see the pellets, they came into their own. I do like cooking with the wood pellets. They're a very clean, efficient way of making a fire if you've got like a wood gas stove or something like that. I've got air rushing in from the sides and then the wood pellets are coming into their own, and you can see this is pretty much smokeless. The thing with this though is it's very, very sensitive to gusts of wind. So any slight breeze kind of tends to knock it down a bit. So you'll see in a minute where I put a windshield around it. A few minutes on and I was really happy with that. It was working how I wanted it to. We got a nice centralized heat flame in the middle. At this point I wondered if it was worth trying to put something on the top to see if it actually would work to, like, say, boil water. And I also didn't know if when I put something on the top I would just get lots of soot coming up the side. Like when you light a fire and you've got lots of sticks in there, it seems to be burning okay, and then as soon as you put a pot on top, you got soot absolutely everywhere. That's how much water I put in. I didn't measure it, but you've got enough for a really nice big cup. You can see from this that I've got enough air gap underneath that it didn't affect the flame, and the whole thing was going rather well. There's about an inch or so underneath, and you can see how centralized it is on the bottom of my MSR Titan cap. I was super pleased with this. After about 4 minutes, I had a look in the top, and oh, I'm still zooming in. Yeah, you can see how beautiful that flame is. Oh, there we are. This is after about 4.5 minutes. And you can see the whole thing's doing rather well. To boil that water took me about 6.5 minutes, if I remember rightly. And there's plenty of heat there to cook on a frying pan or something like that. But not too much heat that it's going to kind of burn everything underneath. There we are. We got a nice rolling boil in about 6.5 minutes. If you've got any ideas for improvements, let me know. Just stick a comment down below. The whole idea of this was I wanted to make something quickly and cheaply, and improve the way these wood pellets burn in these firebox style stoves. I think next time what I might do is put less pellets in, because you can see when it goes down a little bit further, when it's burnt down, there's a lot more air rushing in the sides, and that's giving it a more kind of intense flame. That is exactly what I imagined when I started this process. If you saw my first video on making one of these, you'll see what an absolute disaster it was. But that's part of the creative process, I guess. You try things, you fail, and you try again. I don't like throwing out water that I've just cooked, but I wanted to do this to show you what was left on the bottom of my Titan mug. The wood pellets, they leave you like, what do you call it, tar or something, but there's nothing on there. It's clean, it's perfectly clean. There's a little bit of soot in around the bottom edge there, but apart from that, it's absolutely clean. Yeah, I'm starting to run out of fingers in a sec. I don't know why I just kept putting my fingers in there. Yeah, we are. Oh, try another finger. There you go, son. So you can see how clean that pot is. And also the handle, because the flame was concentrated in the middle, the handle was still cool enough to lift off the pot with no problems at all. And there we're coming to the end of the burn. The flames you see here are where little bits of wood pellet are falling down underneath, and they're the ones burning. but there's still enough heat in that to keep something simmering. If you've got your initial heat out of it and you've made like a soup or a stew and you want to keep it simmering away, there's enough heat in there to do that. I'm going to keep tinkering away and experimenting with this. Oh, that was hot. I tried to relight the pellets on a wood burning wood gasifier. What you can sometimes do is relight the pellets when you get to that stage and there's enough smoke in there, and that kind of like it all starts burning away again and it uses everything up. But this was so efficient that I couldn't do that. And that's all that was left, out my wood pellets. The idea with this is that I could have like a contained little fuel cell with the wood pellets in, take them out and just light the top and away we go. So there you have it. Let me know what you think. Any improvements? Is it a good idea? Is it a terrible idea? Do you want to see how I made it? Oh God, he's going for more soot now. Nope, there's hardly anything there. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Come on, they want to go now. There we go. Info shed out.